So you're thinking about moving to Mexico and you want to move to Mexico. How much money will you need? Should you buy or rent? What about a safe place to live? Where should I live in Mexico? Is the lake polluted? Can I save 30% living in Chapala? Yes. When is the best time to visit? When is the best weather in Ajijic? What months are the best time? When is best time to come and look for a property to rent?
Oh, Jerry Brown here with Jerry Brown Travels.
What? What are you doing, Jerry? I'm cooking my breakfast and I'm here.
Well, good morning. And so we want to spend some time with you today. So in this video, what I want to do is give you some information about the area of Ajijic.
Yeah, Ajijic and Lake Chapala, something like that.
What's the elevation here? What's the population? How many expats live here? So this is what this video is going to be about.
I'm hungry, I gotta make my breakfast.
Okay, and so she's going to go about her duties today, and you and I will sit down and chat and share this information with you. So come along and we'll introduce you to more of Mexico, Ajijic, Chapala, and the surrounding areas. Should you retire in Mexico? That's the question you're probably asking. And so let me give you some little facts here. Now, the first thing is, can you afford it? You'll hear a lot of different videos, including ours, where we talk about different prices of retiring here. Okay, so you may want to look at our latest video where we talk about our budget and we explain everything that we spend in there. And I'll leave a link down below so you can take a look at that video. So first thing is, can and how much does it cost to retire in Mexico? Well, the average cost to retire in Mexico, about $26,000 a year to $30,000 a year. Now I'm talking about really living in Mexico full time, taking care of all of your expenses. Your medical care, a lot of people don't include that. Your car insurance, your visa expenses, your dental expenses, your medical expenses, all of these things, they add up. And so for $26,000 a year, they have found you can live a good life down here. You'll be able to have a nice home that you rent or you have bought, and you'll be able to go out to eat a lot of nice restaurants. It's fun to do that down here. You'll be able to entertain. You'll be able to do activities. You can get a little money in there for doing a little sightseeing touring. And so it's a quality lifestyle down here. So between $26,000 and $30,000 a month. No, excuse me, a year. That would be expensive for a month, for a year. Now, we have made other videos where we've talked about living down here on your Social Security. And yes, you can do that. A lot of times, if people are just coming down for a short time, they can live on that. They can cut back. But if you're really living like you would do in your country you're at, you probably are going to spend more money. Things just add up little by little. So for a single person down here, I'm thinking that probably about $12,000 to $15,000 a year, you can do that. A couple living down here and really cutting back and not really doing much of anything, you can drop that down to about $20,000 a year. You can shave it off there. You won't be living in Ajijic. You'll be living in Chapala. You'll be living in the outskirts of this area here. Ajijic is the most expensive place to retire in. So now let's talk about population here. What is the expat population here in the general area from Lake Chapala or Chapala all the way to San Moncosula? It's like 30,000 expats that live here. That's in the high season. The high season runs between October and April. Off season, it drops down significantly, probably half of that in that area. Now, what is the elevation here? You need to know that. Maybe elevation is something that you need to consider for your health. So the elevation is at 1 mile high. It's 5,000 feet elevation. And so it's surrounded by mountains. We're in a mountain area, and it has a lake, which you probably know. And actually, Lake Chapala is the largest freshwater lake in Mexico. It measures like 50 miles long and about 10 to 15 miles wide across. The population in Guadalajara, which is 40 miles from here, and it is 4 million. Guadalajara is the second largest city in Mexico, so it's big. Has an international airport. The international airport is about 30 miles from Ajijic, so it's quite convenient. You can easily get on a plane. You can be out of here in a very short time. And so it's very convenient to be close to the airport. It's very convenient to be close to Guadalajara, because in Guadalajara you can get a lot of your other things that you can't get down here. You can go to, say, Costco. You can go to maybe some of the fancier restaurants if that's what appeals to you. There's the opera there. There's the theater there. There's a lot of activities there. And so a lot of people that live down this area like the conveniences of say, about an hour drive to Guadalajara. Well, another thing that's very important is it's safe down here. We have made videos and we've talked about the safety. Well, this area is a little pocket area of expats, and so it's quite protective in this area. But 40 miles away in Guadalajara, that's a different story. It's the second largest city in Mexico. And in that area, yes, there is the cartel. Yes, there is violence. Yes, there is robberies. Yes, there are shootings there. All of that stuff does happen. Now, any big city in the world, you'll have that situation also. And so we don't freak out about it down here, because in our little area, we're somewhat protected. And I think the reason why, because there's so many expats down here, the government really makes sure that they keep control, they keep a lot of their presence here, so that it makes it safe. So in this area here, we give it a thumbs up for safety, and we've been here 10 years. We haven't had any trouble with the safety down here. So safety is very much of an important factor in deciding where you want to live. And in this area, we can report that it's safe. How far is Ajijic from Chapala? Well, it's 5 miles from Ajijic to Chapala. And why I tell you that is because in Chapala, things are much lower price. There's not as many Americans or foreigner expats that live there. And that's one of the reasons that the cost is lower. Your food budget is much lower there. Your housing is much lower there. And so what we're noticing now is that people who want to come here and they want to live lower than that $26,000 to $30,000 a year, then Chapala is the place you want to go. It doesn't have all the activities that we have here in Ajijic, but it's a very beautiful place. There is a lot of nice things there. And in fact, I get a lot of reports of people who have moved there, and they say, we really like it better because it feels a little bit more like they've gone back into the Mexican culture. Now, if you feel that you're getting value from this little video that we're making here, hey, how about subscribing? Down at the very bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a little subscribe note down there. If you touch on that, you will be able to subscribe, and we will send you a video notification every week in your email indicating that a new video is up for you to view. There's a lot of confusion around, can foreigners buy property here in Mexico? And the answer is yes, you can buy property here in Mexico. You actually can buy it if you come in with just a 180-day visa. You can buy it. Or if you have a temporary visa or a permanent visa, you can buy that property here also. We have videos on visas, and we have talk about what qualifications it is to apply for a visa. you can check those out. Okay, the other thing is, and here's where the confusion comes. People say, you know, I heard that you cannot buy property in Mexico. Okay, the way it works is around the beach area, so along the coastline, along the beach, you have to put your property in a Mexican trust. And so what that is, it's a corporation that is set up for you to put the deed in that trust. And that has protected the Mexican government because they want to control the beach area because it's so popular. Now, once you get away from the beach of 50 kilometers, back away from the beach, now you can get a deeded piece of property in your name. It's just like you would get any other place. The deed will be in your name or your wife's name or your friends or whatever you want to do. And it'll be all checked out with, make sure that they make sure that the deeds are all clear from any encumbrances or any titles, mess ups. So yes, a foreigner can buy property in Mexico. Well, one of the nice things about living in this area of Mexico is that...
Hey, Jerry, I got some of your fruit and coffee.
Oh.
Look at this.
Oh, thank you, honey. Is this fruit and coffee?
Fruit and coffee for your breakfast. Okay, right here.
Thank you, honey.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
that. Okay.
See you later.
Back to a little video making here. Thank you, Lori.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it. Okay. Love you.
Love you too.
I'll eat that in a minute here. But let me finish up. So as I was saying, well, what does Ajijic mean? That's a funny name, isn't it? Well, it means a place of water or bubbling up of water. There are some hot springs that are about 12 miles from here, and Simon Kosla has a whole area of hot springs, and that's a fun place to visit. So Ajijic, a place of water and boiling up water. Is the lake polluted? That's the question. But this is what the information I have. So verify it, please. But here I go. The lake has some troubles with it. Though it's interesting because the fishermen are out there every day fishing. The people eat the fish from the lake and they seem to be okay. But what does happen is there are pesticides that run into the lake. Also, some of the little villages don't have a proper sewage treatment plant. And so some of that leakage gets into the lake. So there are some contaminations in the lake, but I guess it's not enough because of the length of the lake, because it's 50 miles long, that it dissipates maybe some of the pollutants. Again, I don't know, but that's what the information I have surmised. So all in all, I don't swim in it, I don't drink it or anything like that, but it doesn't smell. People who do swim in it, mostly the little kids, that is, and people are fishing on it. So all in all, I would say, who knows? It doesn't smell. Okay, it doesn't smell, so it's okay in that regard. When is the best time you would like to come and visit this area? Okay, so our recommendation is take some time wherever you choose in Mexico you would like to stay. Come and view the area. Get an Airbnb. That's going to be the simplest way to do it because right now things are very hard to find for short-term rentals. Like you want to come down for 2 weeks or a month. Even that is a short-term rental. So get an Airbnb. Come down to an area, investigate it. Maybe you want to make a few trips and maybe you can extend those trips out so that you get a real feel if Mexico is right for you. So in this area here, at the elevation of 5,000 feet, most of the high season of the expats is between October and April. So there's a lot more people here. That's a good time to come here. Actually, weather-wise, it's not such a good time crowd-wise. Now, The hottest times are here are mid-April, mid-May, mid-June. Those 3 months are your hottest, meaning that it'll be about 90 degrees in the day and it'll cool down to about 75 at night. It all depends on where you're staying and the airflow. So those months. Then what happens in June? Around the middle of June, it starts to rain and things cool down, become a little bit cooler. June, July, August, September, and then during the day, the average temperature is about 75 to 80 degrees. The summer months is a good time to come down here. In one respect, if you're looking for a piece of property or you're looking to rent, because there is more availability for that. But come down, get an Airbnb, and then when you check out the real estate, maybe you go into the real estate office, and if you have between, let's say, $600 to $1,200, tell them that you're up in that range there. You're going to have more to see. Check out the boards around town. Lake Chapala Society has boards where people post their ads on it. Go around to the different stores and see a bulletin board that you can check it out. Another tip is when you go by a gated community, stop and talk to the gate guard there and ask them, do you know of any properties that are for sale in here? And in the next video, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about other services down here, what you can expect. Banking. Can you open up a bank account in Mexico? What does it take? Should you open up a bank account in Mexico? We're going to talk about ATM machines. Also, we're going to discuss the requirements of visas and what it costs to apply for a visa, how that works. We're going to talk about, can you get Medicare here in Mexico if you're an American citizen? Can it be used? I'm understanding that they're starting to open up little pocket areas around some of the hospitals that you can start to use some of your Medicare. So we'll talk about those subjects in the next video. So stay tuned, and also please subscribe down there. You'll see a subscribe little notice. Touch on that. If you see my face at the very end, if you touch on that too, then you will have subscribed. Thank you.